What's up, guys? This is my response to some of what John Del Arroz said about Brandon Sanderson exposed as woke activists in fantasy publishing. Considering that Brandon still has his beliefs, Church of Latter Day Saints as a Mormon and conservative, I wouldn't really say he's necessarily a woke activist. What he has said is that he decided years ago to be a writer of the world. So he wants to write for the world and include everybody of the world. That includes people who are also minorities, LGBTQ, whatever else. But he still has great writing. He still puts in a lot of the great writing that he wants to put in. He puts it all in. And I know that John has his very ridiculous ass backwards beliefs as a Christian, and for some reason he views like gay people, LGBTQ people as all evil or whatever else. He thinks that the visitation rights was not true, even though that happened in the 1980s where gay men who were dying of AIDS could not visit their loved ones because they weren't allowed visitation rights by hospitals in many different states in America. Or their loved one who was dying, they weren't allowed visitation because of their lover's family did not allow them to have visitation. So yeah, that in fact actually did happen. And I know because my mother was a registered nurse and she worked in those hospitals back then, and she saw all this happening. She saw it all happening. But yeah, it's just weird how Brandon Sanderson, who wants to be a writer of the world, while still having his beliefs as a Mormon, is going to include people of the world and still be this incredible. Like, his recent books have been amazing for the most. Sunlit Man is freaking incredible. And of course, I'm reading Words of Radiance. That's also amazing. But yeah, Sanderson saw in epic fantasy that there's a lack of diversity. And so he decided to make his own franchises, his own book sagas, to have diversity. He wasn't taking something from Tolkien or something made from somebody else and making it that way. I mean, yeah, there was a lot of diversity and LGBTQ or some stuff in Brandon's books, in the Robert Jordan books, A Wheel of Time, but Robert Jordan was already putting a lot of that in his own books anyway. So, so I feel like John Del Arroz, however you say his last name, I feel like this video was kind of misguided. He got a lot of things wrong about LGBTQ people, saying that they're all like evil or in sin or whatever else, and that gay marriages and relationships where they're raising kids, that they're doing grooming, which, 99% of that is not true. I mean, would you say that about yourself as a Christian who's raising children to be Christians? That's grooming. That's completely grooming, because you're telling children what to think, not how to think. You're supposed to teach children how to think, not what to think. You're already brainwashing kids at 3, 4, 5 years old, taking them to church, having them study the Bible. You're mentally conditioning them to worship Jesus. And Muslims do the same thing with Islam. Everybody does the same thing, and it's not good. You're supposed to teach kids how to think, not what to think. You got to teach them critical thinking skills. And if they want to choose to be religious, to believe in God and all that, then go right ahead. That's their choice. But, Christians like John just don't see, or whatever religion he does, he doesn't seem to understand that. He doesn't really seem to get the gist of that. And that's the short-sightedness of Christians and theists in general. And that's why I truly believe being an atheist, being a skeptic, being a secular person is so much better than being a religious person. It just is. You see the ignorance of people like John and just what they're saying. But hey, he's going to get probably 10,000 views on that video, maybe more. And he's probably going to get a lot of dislikes because, boy, Sanderson fans are very loyal, and he's just such a great writer. And no matter what y'all do, whether you're anti-woke or woke people, you pro-woke people, you anti-woke people, you're all freaking crazy. No matter what you do, you come after Brandon Sanderson, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't stick. You end up losing every single time. You end up losing. So those are my thoughts. This is Brian J's Nerd Talk. This is my response to this pretty misguided video by John, and I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.